Hello, welcome back to Naughty Boy Fight Picks. Back like John Morgan's blue polo shirt. Recorded one last night and the quality was fucking trash, so doing it again because there's nothing more I love than going over the UFC Prague whole card more than once. So Maddie uploaded the Naughty Boy MMA episode 3 yesterday. Sup, Aries? Fuck you, always in there, bro. Straight in there. Is the quality all right? Can you tell me? Seems to be streaming well from my end. Yeah, so gonna do the whole card again. Yeah, I'm on a different laptop now, so apparently the brand new one I bought is fucking garbage. So here we are. We're on a Mac, and maybe I'm converted now. But yeah, go over the whole Prague card again and have a look at it. There's some real cool fights on here and some other shit I don't care about. First fight of the night, Damir Ismagulov versus Joel Alvarez. Ismagulov 16-2, Alvarez 15-14 on debut. This seems like a very kind of just thrown together matchup to fill up the card. Picking Ismagulov to win pretty handily here, perhaps by KO, maybe submission. I don't know. Alvarez has a handy amount of subs on his record, but yeah, I think Ismagulov's going to be levels above him. So just a quick rundown on that. Picking Ismagulov to win that pretty handily. Next fight of the night, Rustam Kabalov versus Diego Ferreira. This could be an interesting one. Where the fuck are my notes? Oh, yeah, here. So Kabalov's on a 6-fight win streak. That last one he got was a bit suspect, the one over Cajun Johnson. Many thought that Cajun won that. And yeah, he's quietly gone on the 6-fight win streak. Been in the UFC a while now. I think was he the one who dumped Vince Pichel and knocked him out on debut? I think it was him. And yeah, just steady racking up wins. But I think I fancy Ferreira here. Did he come? I think he came in overweight. And Ferreira's got a lot of subs on his record, but lately he's been knocking people out. So I wouldn't be surprised if he hurts Kabalov on the feet and then locks up a sub. So pick there Ferreira by submission. Where we at? All right. Oh man, this laptop is so much better than my fucking brand new one, and this is an old as fuck MacBook. Next fight of the night, Michel Prazeres versus Ramazan. Oh no, not Ramazan Aviv. It's Nordiev. Fuck, so many hard to pronounce names on this card. Prazeres has won 8 in a row. All those fights being in the UFC. Recently gone up to welterweight after missing weight a bunch of times at lightweight. You wouldn't think it by looking at him, but he actually wins a lot of decisions. And also gets a lot of submissions, obviously. This is a super hard ask for Nordiev on debut. He looks like a pretty fun striker. He's got a good kicking game. His boxing might be a bit sus, but yeah, it's just too much for a guy on debut, I think. And Prazeres is just a proven winner. And he's built like an actual brick. Just one solid fucking brick. So picking Prazeres to get the submission win here, and pretty confident in that. Next fight of the night, we have Damir Hadzovic versus Marco Polo Reyes. A lot of people saying this could be fight of the night. Could very well be. According to statistics, neither of these guys have ever shot a takedown in the UFC, so they can tell you where this fight's going to play out. Hadzovic is a more technical guy. Reyes, pretty wild knockout artist. Most of his wins come in by knockout. Reyes has finished 4 of his last 5 wins, and Hadzovic also has a really good finishing rate. I think, yeah, their finishing rates are both like above 70% or something of that nature. So fight does not go the distance, probably a good prop bet in this one here. Hard one to pick. I think Reyes will, as he usually does, try and turn it into a brawl, and Hadzovic has shown that he can be drawn into a brawl, where his advantage in this fight would probably to keep it technical and pick Reyes off, but I do kind of like the chance of that happening, and therefore, just on a whim, I'm going to pick Reyes by KO. But yeah, I wouldn't bet either guy here. I'm not super confident in a result, except that it won't go to decision. Next fight of the night, Veronica Macedo versus Gillian Robinson. Macedo is yet to get a UFC win. She's lost 2. She's very small for a 125er, but Gillian isn't much bigger, and she has been fighting much bigger women previously. Macedo is a faster, more athletic fighter here. Robinson has that submission game. She won her first 2 in the UFC by submission over Emily Whitmire and Molly McCann, so not great level opposition. And then in her last fight, she got submitted herself. Pretty hard fight to call here, but I do think Macedo is the better fighter, so I'm going to pick her to win a decision here. But yeah, not super confident in that one either. Next fight of the night, one I am confident in, Daniel Tamor, younger brother of David Tamor, obviously, up against Chris Fishgold. Tamor 6-2, Fishgold 17-2. Fishgold has, I think he had 4 or 5 title defenses in Cage Warriors, I believe. So he's got championship experience and kind of big show-ish experience, probably about as big as UFC Prague's going to be. So yeah, that's important here, and he's just a young guy as well, but very experienced. Tamor got that Dutch style kickboxing. He's lost his first 2 UFC fights. Strange guy, Tamor. He seems to really rate himself, but the results haven't come in yet. I mean, he did come into UFC undefeated, but just 6 fights. And things haven't gone his way, and he's been pretty easily dispatched too, and he rocks up to the weigh-ins getting in his opponent's face and shit like that. So if you can't tell, I don't particularly like the guy. Got little T-Rex arms as well, which I don't know, not my favorite thing. Yeah, Fishgold came up against Calvin Kattar in his debut, and I think surprised a lot of people. He came out super aggressive and really put it on Kattar to begin with, and it looked hairy. It looked like he was going to beat him, but Kattar, being very composed, kind of hung in there and then put Fishgold away, I think about 4 minutes into the first round. So, yeah, but Kattar's just an incredibly difficult opponent to get first up. I think he's going to be a future contender, or if not, definitely a top 10 guy and probably a top 5 guy. Calvin Kattar is really fucking good. Fishgold showed he's got a nice slip and counter. He's all pressure and aggression. And I think there could be fireworks for a while in this fight, but I get the impression with Tamor that he likes to be the aggressive guy, likes to do the bullying in there. And if someone else does that to him, he's going to whoop pretty quickly. So I'm expecting that to happen. I just think the physicality, aggression, and pressure of Fishgold is going to crumble Tamor reasonably early. Fishgold tends to get his wins by submission, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him hurt Tamor on the feet and then grab a sub. But either way, I'm picking Fishgold to get a finish here. looking forward to that one too. It should be fun while it lasts. And I'm keen to see Tamil get boxed up. So, next up on the card, we have Dwight Grant versus Carlo Pedersoli. Fucking touching the wrong laptop. Grant has looked pretty average in his Contender Series fight, and then his UFC debut versus Otto. He's a powerful counter striker, but doesn't appear to have much urgency and doesn't draw out his opponent's attacks, so he can counter strike. He just waits for them to go and then tries to counter strike. So you saw in the Otto fight, he just spent a lot of that fight waiting. Yeah, Pedersoli's pretty fun. He's a little wild, but he's got some decent technique. A variety of kicks he likes to throw. I think this one comes down to I fancy Pedersoli to get the win here. I think he's a better, more well-rounded fighter. He's got some wrestling and grappling as well. And yeah, if he fights smart, he should win this fight. I do have concern about him getting aggressive though and getting countered by Grant. And it'll be interesting to see what Grant's approach is to this fight, because you'd imagine he'd want to do a lot more than he did in his last fight. So maybe he'll come out hard, and that could favor Pedersoli. We shall see. Either way, I'm picking Pedersoli here to get a decision win. Next fight of the night. Magomed Ankalaev versus Klidson de Abreu. Ankalaev came into UFC, was unbeaten, and he had that fight with Paul Craig where he dominated 3 rounds of fighting and then got submitted and tapped with 1 second to go on the fight. He came back in his next fight against Prachnio looking really good and just demolished him pretty quickly. He got a KO win. Ankalaev's last 4 wins have been by KO. He's super calm and composed. Really like that about him. He's got slick countering, which I think goes hand in hand with that composure. And he's pretty precise with his striking, takes his time, picks his spots well. As for de Abreu, I think he came in overweight. It is short notice, to be fair to him. He's a submission specialist, got 10 wins by submission. He's subbed his last 5 opponents. The 2 losses on his record are both by KO. And he's got some power striking, but it's pretty sloppy and telegraphed, and he kind of will lunge into the pocket. And I think that's what's going to get him in trouble here against a guy that's so composed and with such nice countering. So I'm expecting Ankalaev to get another KO win here. Pretty confident in that one also. Next up, another fight I'm really looking forward to. John Dodson versus Peter Yan. Yeah, so Dodson's gone 3-4 in his last 7, alternating wins and losses. His game seems to be getting more simplistic recently. He just circles to the right, popping that jab out. That jab is just there to set up the left. He doesn't throw it with any conviction or intent. And I'm just wondering if because Yan's cage cutting has looked really good, but he hasn't faced a guy like Dodson that we've seen that's that fast or mobile. So, yeah, really hoping that Yan can cut the cage off here and do some damage. Yeah, his pressure game's pretty incredible, and unlike a lot of pressure fighters, he has real good defense while he's pressuring. Dodson's never been KO'd, and Yan is on a 6-fight win streak, and 3 of his last 4 he's won by KO. So, yeah, I'm wondering how Yan's going to look in this fight, because he likes to take control immediately. We've seen that. And if he can't control this fight immediately, I do trust him to fight intelligently and not lose the plot and still get a decision win. Like, I'm very confident in Jan winning, whether it's a decision or a finish. But I'm interested if he can really put it on Dodson, because the only guys that have been beating Dodson are like some of the best fighters, like Rivera, Lineker, Mighty Mouse, etc. So if Jan can actually cut him off and beat him and finish him, then we will really know we're dealing with like a potential champion here, I think. Bantamweight is so fucking good. I love this division. So I'm picking Jan. I'm thinking it'll be a decision. I'm thinking it won't look real impressive because that's what happens when you fight Dodson. But I'm hoping we see Dodson get a hiding and Jan get a really impressive win. Next fight of the night, Liz Carmouche versus Lucy Pudilova. Carmouche, of course, the female iteration of Uriah Faber. Pudilova, I think, is coming down 125 for the first time. She looked massive next to Carmouche at the ceremonial weigh-ins this morning. Pudilova had that fight against Aldana where she is super tough and it was a real fun fight, but she didn't really make adjustments and she just kept coming forward and getting hit because Irene was angling off and using footwork, and Pudilova just came forward or back in a straight line, and that's what lost her that fight. It was still pretty close nonetheless, and she proved she was really tough in that fight. I feel like Carmouche is probably going to get the wrestling going here, and that is going to be... What's up, Connor? That may spell defeat for Pudilova, but I'm just going to go for a hopeful pick here. Pudilova is the only Czech fighter fighting on this Prague card. Hopefully she'll be buoyed by that. Hopefully she can stuff the takedowns and get her striking going. And no, I think she could probably beat Carmouche on the feet if she can negate the wrestling, but that's a big if. But I'm just going to go for a hopeful pick here, not betting it, but Pudilova by decision. Next fight of the night, fucking Jean Volante, still on main cards because he's friends with Dana, versus Michał Olejniczak out of Poland. Volante 17-10, Olejniczak 13-2. I really like the look of Michał. He's southpaw. His debut was real impressive. He had a real good win over Khalil Roundtree. It was overturned for he tested positive for an estrogen blocker or something, which is odd because he, like, on the eye test, he doesn't look like a guy that's using steroids, but perhaps he was. So he fought really smart in that fight, particularly for a young guy in his UFC debut. Khalil came out the beginning of each round throwing bombs, and Khalil's powerful, man, and he ate some shots but also showed some really good defense and temperament, just letting Khalil punch himself out and then just going to work on him for the rest of the rounds with a real nice variety of strikes, some good counter punching. And he also showed some nice wrestling in that fight as well. And just real good fight IQ, knowing when to shoot the takedown, knowing when to attack, reading his opponent, seeing when he was gassed and just going in and making him work and defend, which was real impressive. He's got a lot of experience for a young guy. He had won 9 fights in a row before that, no contest. A lot of those have come by KO. He's shown that when he gets tired, he still fights hard and that he's got a good chin. John Volante, he's very inconsistent. He's 4-5 in his last 9. Has not had back-to-back wins since 2015. Everyone talks about him as though he's a power puncher, but he's only got 1 finish in his last 7. He's very plodding and just doesn't appear to be very determined. he's had so many split decisions or close decisions, and he doesn't seem to have any kind of gumption or onus to get a win when a fight is close or tight, and it appears like he could do that. I think Macau can outmove him and outwork him. It'll be a little smaller, I think. But yeah, I don't see Villante KOing him, and I don't see any way that Villante wins a decision here. So I'm thinking Macau might get the decision or he might get a finish, but either way, very confident that he wins. Yeah, Macau does look strong. Villante's punching bag. Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, Macau looked like in better shape than his last fight, right? I was kind of half asleep when I was watching the weigh-ins, but I recall him looking good. I'm kind of excited about him after studying him for this card. Next fight of the night. Another fucking weird one. Well, I guess not. Stefan Struve versus Marcos Rogério de Lima. Struve 32-11, and de Lima 16-6. Struve's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's won just 3 of his last 9 fights, and in his career has been KO'd 7 times. Do wonder what Struve is fighting for these days. He is only like in his early 30s, I think. So, I mean, but yeah, there's no way. Like, he's just been around forever and has never really had a solid run or looked like he's made large improvements to his game. And yeah, so it's a strange one. As for de Lima, he just moved up to heavyweight in his last fight. Got a win over an opponent not dissimilar to Struve. What was his name? Adam Vizarek. Tall guy with a lot of subs on his record. And I picked de Lima in that fight, but I expected him to get a KO win. He came out and took Vizarek down and kept him on the ground for the majority of the fight and got a really comfortable win, but it wasn't what I was expecting. But yeah, showed a good game plan and ability to execute, and de Lima appeared to have heaps more gas at heavyweight than he did at light heavyweight. Fucking, what was I gonna say? Oh man, I'm blank. Yeah, I feel like de Lima. Oh yeah, no, that's right. De Lima came in for this fight at like 250 pounds, which is crazy. That's so heavy for a guy that used to fight at light heavy. So I'm wondering how that's going to affect him. And he looked pretty big and round, but I have picked him. I'm thinking it'll be a finish this time. I think he'll knock Struve out. So hopefully he doesn't come out looking fat as fuck and garbage and tired. But yeah, I think he can beat Struve here. What's up, Mark B? That brings us to the final fight of the night. Number 4 ranked light heavyweight Jan Blachowicz versus yet to be unranked Thiago Marreta Santos. One of my favorites to watch, Marreta. Blachowicz is 22-7. Santos 19-6. Jan's on a 4-fight win streak at present. 2 of those wins come by sub. He's got 9 submissions on his record. Prior to that winning streak, he had lost to Pat Cummins and then Gustafsson. Marreta has won 7 of his last 8. It's crazy he's such a consistent winner because the way he fights is fucking insane. He's looked heaps better since going up to 205. His chin looks better. His cardio looks better. He's coming off of 2 finishes. And despite that crazy style, and being known as a finisher. Maheda actually has quite a few decision wins on his record as well. So I just got distracted by the chat. This one's real hard to call. But I think I'm favoring Maheda. I think he's got a lot of momentum. Can get himself into bad positions just by being wild, which could be dangerous against Jan. Jan's got some nice stand-up. But I think Thiago can create his usual chaos. Jan has shown more so in the past. He's looked better lately, but he can gas, and I wonder if Maheda puts that crazy pace on, whether Jan can handle that, whether he can stay composed and keep his cardio intact. Jan's only been KO'd once, but Thiago is fucking powerful and can hit you from crazy places. And I think he's like right up there in the top 5 for most KOs in the UFC ever, which is pretty crazy. So I'm going to pick Thiago by KO here, but not confident in that. But pretty confident this fight doesn't go to decision. I'll get into my bets in a second. Annette is saying, tell me what you think of Ben Rothwell. In what regard? Like, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about Ben Rothwell. He's kind of a maniac, right? Do I like him as a fighter? Yeah, I'm pretty happy to watch a Ben Rothwell fight. My bets this week. So I added a few since last night. I got 4 units on DeLima. He's paying 178. I got Fishgold and Jan parlayed together, 5 units on that. I got Ismagulov and Oleg Jacek parlayed together, 4 units on that. I got Ismagulov, Ankalaev, and Jan and Thiago doesn't go to decision, 3 units on that. I got Jan, Thiago doesn't go to decision. Demir and Polo Reyes doesn't go to decision. And Prazeres to win parlayed, 4 units on that. And then I put a little 1 unit play on Petty Jan to win by KO, TKO, or submission. That's paying $5.50. I would have just played the KO, but it was only $6. And so TKO or sub was paying $5.50. Yo. Think I'm going to regret Lima? Yeah, it's a weird bet to make, but I don't know. Struve is a loser, man. He's lost 3 in a row. He just keeps losing. What I think of Kron fighting Ryan Hall? Yeah, fuck it. They might as well make that fight. A lot of people talking about Kron versus Zabit, but I don't know what for. I feel like as soon as Kron faces a decent striker, he's going to get knocked out. Yeah, we shall see. I don't know. It's like Struve has been losing. DeLima just beat a pretty similar opponent in his last fight. And yeah, DeLima's been real unreliable in the past. I'm just kind of, so those 2 factors and relying on that. I don't know what Struve's motivation is. And I feel like DeLima, having just come up to heavyweight, gotten a good win, I think he might be pushing kind of hard. Although the weight he's come in at might tell you differently. Any other questions before I shoot? Yeah, good luck to you too, man. Hey, put millions of dollars in the super chat if you want. Rothwell versus Blagoy. Blagoy Ivanov. Is he the guy with the stab wound in his heart who JDS just beat real easily recently? I wouldn't pretend to have a real good read on that fight, but just off the top of my head, I'd probably fancy Rothwell. Rothwell's been out for a while, right? Feels like he hasn't fought for ages. All right, I better go. Thanks everyone for tuning in. All the social media stuff and whatnot to follow is in I'll put in the description for the video. We will do a recap, I imagine, tomorrow, and check out the other video Maddie and I did yesterday. Thank you. Enjoy the fights, everyone. Have a good day.